A good evening. It is 26th of September 2025 and you are just in time for GBS News at 9. I'm Ibrahim Said and our sign language interpreter tonight is Alan Kiama. Remember here, every headline carries a story, every story with the truth, and every truth carries a voice. We have a lot lined up for you and top of our bulletin. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta speaks out. He addresses delegates at the Jubilee Party National Conference held today. In his speech, Kenyatta accuses the government of using state security agencies to intimidate citizens. He says this undermines democracy and threatens national unity. Kenyatta also warns against leaders who campaign using personal struggles like being a hustler or raised by a single parent. He says leadership should be based on clear plans, not sympathy. The remarks marks Kenyatta's strongest public criticism of the current administration since leaving office. He says Jubilee will continue to speak out on national issues and defend democratic values. Let's take a look.
By ensuring that our security agencies were better able to handle both domestic and external threats. This machine that we built, however, was not to be used and designed to face its own citizens, and it is not supposed to have been a source of fear and conflict with our citizens. Na ndipo nilikuwa nawaambia hii story, watu walikuwa wanazungusha sijui hasla, sijui huyu ni mtoto wa single mother, si huyu ni mtoto wa dynasty. Mimi najua watoto wangapi wa single mother ambao wamesoma vizuri sana na wameendea. Lakini kusema ati wewe adhabu wewe umezaliwa na single mother, hiyo ndio qualification yako ya kuchaguliwa. Hapana, njoo uambie Wakenya ni nini utawafanyia. Pahali popote umezaliwa, haja ni nini unawafanyia.
Now, in a devastating story, shock has crippled Kericho after a 19-year-old man hacked 3 of his family members to death before being lynched by an angry mob in the area. Here is more on that story.
According to the eyewitnesses, the suspect attacked his relatives using a machete, killing them instantly in their homestead. Residents who rushed to the scene were left horrified by the gruesome killings. The alarmed villagers swiftly mobilized and pursued the suspects, cornering and killing him before he could escape.
Hapa leo mwendo wa saa 4 kumekuwa na kisa ambaye mtu mmoja ambaye ni wa jamii moja ameweza kuumiza na kuwajeruhi na kuwaua watu 3. Wa kwanza ameanza na shangazi wake ambaye ni ako na miaka 70. Baada ya hapo akaenda kwa dada wake, shemeji wake ambaye ako na miaka 28 na mtoto wake mdogo wa miaka 3 ambaye mtoto ameaga huko hospitalini.
Police officers who later arrived at the village collected bodies and launched preliminary investigations. Local leaders and security officials expressed shock at the incident, describing it as one of the worst family tragedies to hit the area in recent months. They also urged residents to seek peaceful conflict resolution instead of taking the law into their hands.
Ile kitu ningesi wananchi ni kwamba kama familia iko na changamoto, jamani familia ikae chini iweze kutafuta suluhisho, kwa sababu nyingine unaweza kupata ni msongo wa mawazo, nyingine ni shida ya familia ambaye inataka familia yote na jamii ikae chini na itafuta suluhisho.
Authorities have confirmed that investigations will continue to establish the motive behind the brutal attack. Security officers have also called on the community to remain calm as they work to prevent similar incidents in the future. Molin Rono, GBS News.
Elsewhere, in Kakamega County, Lugari constituency, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has called on Luhya community to remain united in support of President William Ruto's government, insisting that unity is the key to unlocking opportunities and cementing Western Kenya's place in national leadership. Speaking during a women empowerment program hosted by area MP Nabii Nabwera, Wetangula reminded residents that the speakership is the third highest office in the land and must be respected as a milestone for the region. He highlighted development gains under the Kenya Kwanza administration, from road infrastructure project and electricity connectivity to revival of sugar factories and the expansion of women's economic groups. The speaker was flanked by Senate Majority Leader Aaron Cheriot, MPs from across Western Kenya, and political leaders who echoed his message of unity, urging residents to reject divisive politics and instead embrace the government's bottom-up agenda that promises jobs, healthcare, housing, and economic empowerment for all.
Alafu mimi nauliza, iko mahali wanasema bandu beru kila siku, bandu beru, bandu beru, bandu beru, na watu hawana darasa. Hiyo ni kweli? Akifika hapa akisema bandu beru, mwambie darasa. Hebu tufanye maombi, bandu beru. Babulra hawana language nyingine. Wakikuja hapa wakisema bandu beru, mseme maendeleo. Na ajabu ya Musa, wako kwa serikali, lakini kutoka Nairobi kukuja kwa mashineni hawataki. Wakifika hapo wanasema tumenyanyaswa. Na mimi nimesema William Ruto akimaliza mundu muluya achukue inji ya Kenya.
Sisi hatujawahi kubahatika kupata maendeleo vile tunapata sasa. Kama kwetu huko Kiminini, barabara vile tulienda na huyu mheshimiwa wenu Nabii, tukashikwa mkono na Papa wa Roma. Barabara inaanzia hapa Tarbo, inakuja kule kwa hapa kwenu, inateremka Tongareni, inateremka mpaka kwetu huko Sikhendu.
Unajua hapa Kenya inaongozwa kwa wingi wa kura. Sisi hapa mkoa wa Magharibi tuko nambari 2 kwa wingi wa kura. Lakini wakati ya kura ikifika tunasambaratika. Tunaenda kwa vyama kidogo kidogo. Mimi nataka 2027 ikifika, kura ya Mluya, akwe mama, akwe mbaba, iende kwa kikapu moja ya William Samoei Ruto.
Na mimi nawaambia Waluya, na najua Wetangula anakuja hapa. Tunataka utawala ya mheshimiwa William Ruto ikiisha, mtu ya mlembe aongoze Kenya kama Wakenya wengine.
Now, shifting gears, top Siaya County government officials are set to appear before the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission for questioning over an employment scandal that led to dismissal of 382 health workers. Nyanza Region Director Abraham Kimboi has announced. Here is more on that story.
While addressing the press at the Siaya County Commissioner's office, Kimboi said the EACC will grill the Executive, County Public Service Board, and County Assembly leadership to establish their role in the scam. He noted that the probe follows complaints from healthcare workers who had served for 8 months before losing their jobs. The director explained that recommendations could not be made without engaging the key county institutions, as they were responsible for approving the structure and budget for recruitment. He further disclosed that the EACC agreed to grant the victims' representatives more time until Monday to submit their documents. Representatives Felix Omolo and Emily Nabwala said they sought an extension because the initial notice was too short. They also insisted that investigations should cover not only 382 laid-off workers, but also individuals who received appointment letters.
And we came to Siaya to get to know what is the problem of the so-called irregular employment of healthcare employees. We have met with their representatives, so we are affording them an opportunity to put their records in order, so that now we will come back on Monday, sit with them, be able to forge the way forward in unraveling this scandal.
Last week, Governor James Orengo demanded comprehensive investigations and urged EACC to conduct lifestyle audits on individuals implicated in the scandal, where job seekers were allegedly swindled millions. Orengo also asked the Siaya County Assembly to speed up its hearing and determination of a petition filed by the victims to enable further executive action.
I urge them all, and that is the County Assembly and agencies of the criminal justice system, to carry out thorough investigations.
When you are doing a professional investigation, you summon all the people that are useful to that investigation. You cannot conclusively make a recommendation without engaging the county governments.
Kemboi assured that once the victims submit their documents, the EACC will intensify investigations to establish accountability and recover justice for the affected workers. The Commission is expected to make firm recommendations after engaging all relevant county institutions, with Governor Orengo reiterating his government's readiness to fully cooperate with the probe and implement its findings. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm Molin Ronum.
With that story, it is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into all our social media platforms at GBS TV Africa, and our SMS line is 21144. Stay tuned.
What's the best thing about being a fashion designer? The best thing is that you can make something for yourself. May I just say that? Like, you can just let your mind be creative. You're not limiting it, and you create something, and every time I make something, I just look at it and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I don't even know. I just be like that. Yes.
And what do you think is required for someone to make it in the fashion industry? So umekuja na mapochopocho. You've come with like really amazing things. Utatuanzia na answer from the front ukikuja to the back.
Okay. That is something, when you look at it like this, you'll have to sit down and figure it out. Like, how did this person make this wallet? You see, this is art. You can also create yarn from like t-shirts. Yes. So that's what I'm trying to change. I want to create sustainable fashion where you don't have to go and buy yarn to crochet. You can just create yarn at your space, or you can go and thrift clothes made of yarn.
Yeah.
So it's anime and cosplay in Kenya.
I came to know about anime when I was a teenager, because that's when I knew, oh, it's not a cartoon, it's an anime. And I came to realize, oh, it's a whole thing, and it's a whole culture, and it's a whole community behind it.
I remember I used to watch Dragon Ball Z, but that time I didn't know it was
anime.
I thought it was a cartoon. Let me go watch cartoon.
Anime has been there, it's just growing with time, and people are getting to know more about it.
This has been going on since 2016. Like, people have been meeting up for anime and DC, whatever nerdism you engage in since 2016.
Cosplay, basically, what it says is costume
role play.
Yeah, so you dress up as a character from an anime, and that's just it.
So character likeness, how much do you look like the character?
Some parents see anime as just cartoons. Which is true. What's your take on this perception?
Hizo cartoons zako zenye unawatch.
Also, it doesn't bother me at all. Most of the most popular anime we enjoy today, Jujutsu Kaisen, is for kids. Naruto is for kids. One Piece is for kids. So yeah, it's never bothered me when people are like, anime is for kids, anime is cartoons. I say this as someone who's been watching anime for 15 years. Anime is cartoons.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to GBS News at 9 as we continue unfolding stories hitting headlines. The 194th UCI Congress officially opened on Thursday in Rwanda's capital, Kigali, as the country welcomes 115 members representing UCI National Federation. The Congress coincides with Rwanda's hosting of the 2025 UCI Road World Championship held from September 21st to 28th, marking an historic milestone as the first time the event has taken place on the African continent.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the...
Speaking at the opening ceremony of the Congress, Rwanda's President Paul Kagame expressed gratitude to riders and fans who had traveled from across the world.
I first of all want to thank UCI under the capable leadership of David Apache for choosing our country to host both the 1994 the Congress, 194th Congress, and the Road World Championships. The 125th anniversary of the UCI is a significant milestone. All the more so because it marks the first time that these events are held in Africa.
Kagame also emphasized Africa's deep connection to cycling, noting that the bicycles have long been a vital mode of transport and livelihood across the continent.
We are proud that with 108 nations competing, we have an outstanding global turnout. From Africa alone, we have 36 countries, which is the highest participation from our continent ever. We are grateful to all the riders and fans who have traveled from near and far to be here. From the biggest cycling nations to the smallest, your presence is what makes these events truly meaningful.
UCI President David Lapatient welcomed the National Federation members and praised Rwanda for its role in hosting the World Cycling Championship.
It's a very big honor to have you here with us today. I sincerely thank you for taking the time to be with us. It's the first time in 125 years that the UCI Road World Championship take place in Africa. And I'm delighted it is here in Rwanda. What an incredible occasion. The crowds, the passion, the smiles, the enthusiasm. This week in Kigali is unique for all of us. The images and memories will stay with us forever. The 132 national federations here in front of us, in the room, asked me, Your Excellency, to thank you and to thank Rwanda for making the history.
Kagame also added, stressing that investing in Africa taps into one of the fastest growing and the most youthful region in the world, with potential in producing elite riders and developing cycling-related industries.
When Africa or another non-traditional host is chosen for a global event, the reaction is skeptical and frequently dismissive. There are those who believe that hosting events of this magnitude should be a monopoly reserved for a few. These reflexive attitudes are outdated and wrong.
Davis Karani for GBS News, Rwanda.
And now, shifting focus, at the United Nations General Assembly, Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud has declared his country's proof that global solidarity works. He praised international support in the fight against terrorism while crediting Somali force for their resilience against extremism group. Susan Nganga with the full report.
It was at the United Nations headquarters in New York where Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud took the podium during the high-level debate of the General Assembly.
That multilateralism and global solidarity can make the world a better, safer, and progressive place. This lived experience is our own government's inspiration for a determinedly working for a more just, peaceful, and progressive world within the UN Security Council during our membership, because we know that we are truly better together.
The Somali leader also paid tribute to the country's armed forces and the local defense units, praising their courage and resilience in the fight against Al-Shabaab and the ISIS.
The unwavering commitment and courage of Somali security forces and the local community defensive forces for their sacrifices, resilience, and success against Al-Shabaab and ISIS, the two most dangerous terror organizations in the world today. This will continue until we achieve complete victory and harmony in our country, our region, our continent, and the wider world.
President Mohamud concluded by stressing that Somalia's progress has been driven by a people-centered and a rule of law approach.
Our national experience is that nothing is better than a people-centered, a people-led, guided by the rule of law to build a unified and prosperous nation in our country.
The address comes as Somalia continues its term as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, where the president says his government is committed to advancing peace and justice. Susan Nganga, GBS News.
A deeply controversial blasphemy case in Nigeria is once again making headlines. Yahya Sharif Aminu, a musician sentenced to death by Kano State Sharia Court in 2020, has been granted permission by the Supreme Court to file a late appeal. As Elvis Moyodi reports, the case has sparked national and international debate, raising urgent questions about the clash between religious law and Nigeria's secular constitution.
Nigeria Supreme Court has granted Yahya Sharif Aminu permission to file a late appeal after he was sentenced to death in 2020 by a Kano Sharia Court for alleged blasphemy. The case has sparked widespread debate, highlighting tensions between Islamic law and Nigeria's secular constitution.
The justice system in Nigeria should be protecting people who peacefully express their faith, not punishing them with death.
Nigeria is a very unique country. We're multicultural, we're multidimensional, we're multi-religious country, and we shouldn't be criminalizing or bringing in laws that criminalize religion. It has no place in a country of 218 million people. It's about time we get to the Supreme Court. It's about time that we have a final pronouncement on it in Nigeria.
Nigeria is a highly influential country in both Africa and the Muslim world. This case is not only important for Nigeria, but it could provide an example for so many other countries where individuals are suffering from these same blasphemy laws.
Sharif Aminu's lawyers argue that his trial was unconstitutional and unfair, citing the lack of legal representation and laws that conflict with national human rights protections.
You must remember that he's still innocent, he's not guilty, because the death sentence was quashed about 4 years ago at the Appellate Division of the Kano State High Court, and then we've gone all through the stairs of the various courts, and we're here now. He's still appealing, he's still stating his innocence, that he's not guilty. He doesn't want to go back to the Sharia court for a retrial.
On their part, Kano State officials defend the verdict, insisting blasphemy will not be tolerated, and say public execution remains an option if the ruling stands.
Anybody that has uttered any words
that touches the integrity of the Holy Prophet, we will punish him. And let me tell you one thing, this man will be executed if this court, upon the decisions of the law, will execute him.
This case now moves to the highest court with far-reaching implications for justice, religion, and human rights in Nigeria. Elvis Muyodi, GBS News.
Voting is underway in Seychelles as President Wavel Ramkalawan seeks a second term in office, with citizens across the Indian Ocean island nation turning out to elect their next leader. Our reporter has more on the story.
The polls opened early in the morning in several districts, drawing long queues of voters eager to cast their ballots. Election officials confirmed that materials had been distributed on time and that polling stations were adequately manned. President Ramkalawan, who came to power in 2020 after defeating long-serving former President Dani Faure, has campaigned on promises of economic recovery, job creation, and tackling corruption. Opposition candidates had earlier accused the ruling party of not doing enough to ease high cost of living, a concern that has dominated political debates in recent months. Observers from regional and international bodies arrived earlier this week to monitor the process, ensuring transparency and fairness in the tightly contested election.
I want to say to Patrick Ermini, please wake up from your dream, because on Sunday it is we who will celebrate victory.
Seychelles, with a population of less than 120,000 people, has enjoyed relative political stability since gaining independence from Britain in 1976. However, its tourism-dependent economy was hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic, leaving many citizens frustrated by slow recovery and rising unemployment. Ramkalawan's unexpected 2020 victory ended decades of dominance by the Seychelles People's Progressive Front, marking a turning point in the country's political history.
Our welfare, social support and welfare was much better. People had more money, people were richer, and today corruption is still rife, victimization is still rife, and nothing has improved for the ordinary Seychellois.
The results are expected to be announced within the coming days, with the Electoral Commission promising a swift and transparent tallying process. Regardless of the outcome, analysts predict that the next government will face mounting pressure to stabilize the economy, attract investment, and address the growing social challenges that continue to shape everyday life in the archipelago. Molly Rono, GBS News.
That story takes us for another break here on GBS News at 9. Do keep your feedback streaming into all our social media platforms at GBS TV Africa, and our SMS line as usual is 21144. Stay tuned.
Hi kids! Welcome to Kids Mind, where we learn, we laugh, and we explore. So kids, are you ready to listen to today's Bible story? Are you ready to listen?
You're happy and you know, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know, clap your hands.
Samson was a mighty man, a mighty man was he. Samson was a mighty man, a mighty man was he. Samson was a mighty man, a mighty man was he. Between a want or a need, which one is more wise?
We're going to be talking about the rock industry and rock culture in Kenya.
When an artist goes into a studio thinking about a hit song, God walks out of the room. So msanii achaguangi hit, hakuna msanii. Msanii achaguangi hit, like even most of the hit songs, some of the songs zinakuanga zile msanii hata apendi kwa hiyo.
Well, that's true. This pressure that is coming in, you need to feed your audience what they want to be fed with, right? What is trending, you need to go as per what is trending. So if you ask a majority of people out here, yes, rock music is there, it is being played, but it's not recognized sana.
Some years back reggae music used to have a stereotype too. Reggae ilikuwa ya watu wa bangi, ya watu
dready.
Kama mtu alikufa, assuming someone died who died in the 90s, someone died in 1995, akifufuka saa hii au nao watu wanasikia reggae, he'd be very shocked. My goal is to demystify rock in Africa kwa sababu music is music, guitar, the rock, all music came from Africa. Muziki haina kabila, how do I put, muziki haina kabila. In fact, they'd be shocked, the rock music we know as of now came from black people. Wakamba ndio marockstar Kenya, high Kambas. You don't really play the guitar, it's just an expression. Yeah, there's Kikuyu gospel hard rock, a guy called Kanyaki for example. So it's very misunderstood. Watu wasema ni ya madevo, ni ya wazungu.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back once more, and thank you for keeping it locked here on GBS News at 9. Spain has said it will send a warship to protect a Gaza aid flotilla attempt to break the Israeli blockade of the territory. The move comes a day after Italy deployed a naval vessel for potential rescue operation. After activists on board the flotilla said they had been targeted by Israeli drones. Meanwhile, Palestinian Authority Mahmoud Abbas has delivered an address to the UN General Assembly via pre-recorded video after he and other members of the delegation were denied entry visas into the United States.
In the port city of Cartagena, the Spanish Navy prepares for a mission unlike any in recent memory. A patrol vessel is settling sail to join an Italian frigate already in the eastern Mediterranean, both tasked with escorting a civilian flotilla headed to Gaza.
What I would like is for the aid that the flotilla is bringing to Gaza to reach Gaza, and for none of the people or vessels involved to suffer any harm. We are working on this, which is why an Italian ship has gone there as a precaution, which has approached the flotilla. We are negotiating to try and find a way out that will allow us to achieve the best possible result with the arrival of aid in Gaza and, on the other hand, not putting the Italians in any danger.
Spain's foreign minister insists the convoy poses no threat, describing it as a peaceful humanitarian mission that must be protected under international law.
I don't know exactly what might happen in the coming hours and weeks because of the accusations that the government of Israel is making against those members of the flotilla from 45 countries. I have to tell you that we are concerned. We are going to send a ship to ensure that we can rescue them and they can return them to Spain. I say to Israel, Spain will protect its compatriots diplomatically and politically.
The global Samud flotilla is one of the largest attempts to break Israel's blockade. More than 50 boats carrying activists, lawmakers, doctors, and religious leaders have been saved from European ports, demanding access for food and medicine to more than 500,000 people who are suffering from famine.
We will not accept the offer from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Israel to send to Cyprus, to Lebanon, our aid, because we know how Israel managed to make traps with aid. So we will reach Gaza, and if we don't, it will be because the violence of Israel is again striking us.
In Athens, demonstrators urged the government to offer protection to the boats and recognize a Palestinian state.
We demand safe passage for the mission and the delivery of aid. It's a basic obligation under international law.
But the risks are growing. Those on board accuse Israeli drones of attacking their boats in international waters south of Greece, damaging several vessels and disrupting communication, with Israeli warning that no ships will be allowed to enter Gaza's waters. This mission has become about more than delivering aid. It's testing the gap between the world's rhetoric and its willingness to act. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm Paul M. Minor.
Away from that, President Donald Trump has said publicly for the first time that he will not allow Israel to annex the occupied West Bank, rejecting appeals from some far-right politicians in Israel who want to extend sovereignty over the area and make it impossible to establish a Palestinian state. Israeli settlements have increased in size and number since Israel captured the West Bank from Jordan in 1967 war and then imposed a military occupation. They stretched deep into the territory with a network of roads and other infrastructure under the Israeli control, further fragmenting the land. A widely condemned Israeli settlement plan called the E1 project, which would effectively bisect the occupied West Bank and cut it off from East Jerusalem, received final approval in August. It will cut across the land that the Palestinians seek for a state.
We've had some really good talks today on Gaza with both the Middle East representatives and kings and all of the top leaders in the Middle East. And we had also a very good conversation with Bibi Netanyahu, trying to get the hostages back, and we're trying to get the end of the Gaza situation. It's really bad, very bad. And we think it could happen. Maybe it could happen pretty soon. We want the hostages back, we want the bodies back, and we want to have peace. I will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. No, I will not allow it. It's not going to happen.
Did you speak with Netanyahu about this directly?
Yeah, but I'm not going to allow it. Whether I spoke to him or not, I did. But I'm not allowing Israel to annex the West Bank. There's been enough. It's time to stop now, okay? We have great relationships with a lot of countries. And you may be even more happy when you find out, because we spoke with Bibi Netanyahu today, and we spoke to all the leaders in the Middle East, who are great people, and we're getting pretty close to having a deal on Gaza, and maybe even peace, which would be the first time in about, 2,000 years, I think? In the region, I'd say the first in, Steve, what would you say, first in 2,000 years, or maybe 1,000?
2 millennium.
Still in U.S., President Donald Trump has signed an executive order to sell TikTok's U.S. operation to American and global investors. The deal is valued at $14 billion and aims to meet national security rules set in 2024.
And here's your final copy.
TikTok, owned by China's ByteDance, faced a U.S. ban until its American operations were sold. The app has over 170 million users in the US, and Trump credited it with boosting his re-election campaign.
I had a very good talk with President Xi, a lot of respect for him. Hopefully he has a lot of respect for me too. And we talked about TikTok and other things, but we talked about TikTok, and he gave us the go-ahead. You know, it's run by American investors and American companies, great ones, great investors, the biggest. You don't get bigger, I don't imagine.
The new order delays the ban, giving time to finalize the sale. Investors include Oracle, Silver Lake, and others. ByteDance will hold less than 20% of the new US company.
The most important thing is that it does protect Americans' data security. It ensures TikTok is still accessible. And on this question of the algorithm, which we've heard this a lot, what this deal ensures is that the American entity and the American investors will actually control the algorithm. We don't want this used as a propaganda tool by any foreign government.
The app's algorithm will be retrained and monitored by US security partners. Analysts say key details remain unclear, including control of TikTok's core technology. Trump says the app will now be American operated all the way. Reporting for GBS. And with that, we have come to the end of the news bulletin. It's always a pleasure having you on board. Let's do this again next time, same channel. My name is Ibrahim Said, and our sign language interpreter tonight has been Alan Kiama. And on our proverb segment tonight, we say, forget who hurt you yesterday, but don't forget who loves you every day. Forget the past that makes you cry and focus on the present that makes you smile. Forget the pain, but not the lesson you gained. Good night.
Everywhere, GBS.